Welcome back to This Day. It's time for a mid-year checkup on your financial planning, and to help us with that is Jerry Slusewith with Pacific Financial Planners. Jerry, thanks for being here. So nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me, Bobby. You did such a great name, a great job with my name. I love it. That's such a hard one.
Oh, thank you. So, what interesting fact about you, we were talking about a few moments ago, you were the host of your own radio show for like 20 years?
Yeah.
Your Money Talks, that's what it was called?
All over Southern California. I was weekends only for a long time, and I was 6 days a week for a number of years in there. So I did a lot of work on that on radio for a long time, just educating people on how to safely invest their money.
Yeah, your interest in your specialty is you're a safe, be safe with your money. How did that become the topic that you pinpoint on?
Sure. Early on, I mean, in the around 1990, I was already in the business about 3 years, and there was a gentleman who, probably about my age at the time, who also was an engineer. So I'm an engineer by degree. And it makes me a nerd, pretty much organize how things work and all that sort of stuff. And he said, you've got to become a student of the market and how things work. And then what he also suggested is he said, most of the advisors focus on growth. If you watch TVs, it's like, where's your number? Watch this line, the Fidelity commercials, follow this green path to retirement. It's all about getting up the mountain and saving money. But once you retire and you give up that income, how do you safely get down the mountain? Everyone that climbs Mount Everest, I guess it's not called that anymore, but oh yeah, it is, Everest is. But when you get to the top, they all want to get down. Not everyone makes the top, but everyone wants to get down safely. And so that's the income side, the retirement side. So he talked to me about that, and even to this day, most advisors are all growth oriented, and I focus on the income side. Safety and income is what people need because they don't have the chance to go back and work should they lose 40–50% in the market.
That makes a lot of sense. I hadn't heard it explained that way. I love that idea because I know even just physically when you're going out hiking or like there's plenty of times I've done things and then I think, oh shoot, I didn't think about how I'm coming back down.
When you hike, if you've done it, and I've done a lot of the different Sierras and things like that, and Half Dome, for example.
Oh, wow.
And there's sheer cliffs when you're going up. What do they say? Don't look down. So you keep looking up, and it's easy.
Right.
But when you're going down, you kind of got to look down, and it's more terrifying going down places with sheer cliffs than up. And so that's the same thing. People don't want to lose their money. They don't want to run out of money in retirement.
Right.
That's people fear running out of money more than they fear death itself. That is a statistic that they put out there, and I agree with it. I meet people all the time. So sometimes people are either taking too much risk, because they're worried, and then sometimes people don't take enough risk. It's kind of rare that you find someone in the middle, but there are some people that are in the middle.
Yeah. So today, you wanted to give us a mid-year market review.
Sure. I brought a couple slides. The first one was, talking about, how the market's doing. Well, it's done pretty well this year, but 7 stocks kind of predominantly, have made up the NASDAQ and the S&P to drive those 30% and 15% higher by mid-year. But is that really important for seniors, for our listeners out there? What the real question is how are you doing? How is your money going?
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people have no idea how they're doing. And if you start measuring yourself versus the stock market, well, sure, the stock market can go up 25% in any given year, but it can also lose 40%. Does someone with $1 million retired here living in the village want to lose $400,000? How would they feel?
Right.
They shouldn't use the stock market as the benchmark. So your traditional asset allocation of stocks, bonds, cash, and alternatives should really be more of how much safety do you want and how much risk investments do you want? Because I ask people all the time, how much of your money do you want insured? All of it, none of it, or some of it? And for most of the listeners today, some of it's the right answer. Yet I see portfolios all the time, every single day, where they have all their money in the market and maybe some money in the bank, 100 or 200,000 in safe. And those things really show with the mid-year, maybe you shouldn't be taking that much risk, or maybe there's a different way to allocate that between the safety and the risk assets.
And how do things like inflation, how does that affect your, the mid-year planning where you're at?
Well, inflation affects everything. I mean, it doesn't matter if you got stock market returns. So people were asking me that question all the time. They said, yeah, but if you put your money, because we put a lot of money in treasury bills last year and this year so far at the beginning of the year, and they were paying about 5%. Okay, that's great. But then someone says, well, but what about inflation? Because last year was 9. I said, but last year, if the stock market lost 22%, at $1 million, now it's worth 780, didn't you have the same 9% inflation? So it was worse for stocks that can go up and down. So, but now they came out the consumer price index this morning and it was in the 3% range. So if you can get 5% on a T-bill, you're getting a 2% real rate of return over the cost of inflation. So, you know, we do look at that. We look at taxes are really important. People always are, you know, I want to buy the next Google or Microsoft or whatever. What if you could save money with your current portfolio by not paying as much in taxes?
That would be amazing.
That's a big deal. Yet a lot of advisors really don't look at it from a tax perspective either. Because they tell, well, my CPA said, well, CPAs record history. They talk about what happened last year. A financial planner who's good that understands tax planning will plan to reduce your taxes from now going forward. So those are the types of things that we look at.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Asset allocation. This is something you want to talk about today.
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about is the stocks, bonds, and cash, you know, and alternatives versus safe versus risky. Is that, you know, that's what really, when you get, you know, to the retirement age and you're not earning income anymore, yes, you want to use a diversified approach to investments, but you've got to understand how much of your portfolio is going to return all your money versus how much is risk that you know, the greater fool theory. You're buying a stock at $10, hoping to sell it to somebody else at 20 down the road. The income side is predictable. Things that pay dividend and interest, it's predictable. They pay that all the time. So it's safer, if you will, than stocks because that's unpredictable. And I'm not saying to not have stocks. You know, we do that in our portfolios as well, but it just depends on the person. But we make sure it's allocated appropriately. Where so many people, they get to retirement and they keep all their risk assets that they had, the 401k, the 403b, they roll it over to an IRA, and then they just stay in the stock market. I see it all the time.
So what, do you have a percentage as a retiree, like how much should be safe or how much should be risky?
It depends on the individual situation.
It just depends what you're comfortable with.
Well, that's one thing. Obviously, you don't want anyone to not be able to sleep at night. You want to have that sleep factor. How much do you need safety to
Yes.
let you sleep? Because some people want no risk. Okay, and I get that. That's fine. We work with those people. I have many people with no risk as clients, and they're earning 5% plus. They love it. But it depends. A lot of it really is more, Bobby, is how much money they need to spend. What's their lifestyle? You can get two people, same age, same amount of money, and one person, you know, their spending is, you know, $3,000-4,000 a month, and somebody else is spending $10,000 a month. So it just depends on the lifestyle they've become accustomed to, and then how can we create the safety and income that they need to meet their retirement goals. So there's no set number really.
Okay. What about cash? If you have a pile of cash at home, is it smart to invest that?
Well, again, you should have somewhere between 6 and 12 months, probably more on the 12 months worth of cash in the bank. So if you spend $5,000 a month, you should have maybe $60,000 in the bank. But anything over that, you know, you could at least do some short-term CDs or T-bills. T-bills are still paying more than CDs out there, which is kind of a rare thing. CDs generally pay more than Treasury bills. Treasury bills are free of state taxes. So there are things you could do with the cash. Now, if you know you have a set expense, you know, major travel, you're remodeling your kitchen, and that's going to be 40 grand or something like that, well, that should also stay in the bank in safe assets, as well as a year's worth of savings. But after that, no, you really should start investing it. And again, it can be 100% safe, 100% guaranteed. It doesn't mean you have to take risk with your money. And that's, again, where I specialize in is the area of safety and income.
Any other wealth preservation techniques?
Well, when you do have risk money, there's ways to protect that. So in the stock market, what we do is you can't control the outcome. Nobody has any idea how if the market's going to go up or go down. I have no idea. Warren Buffett has no idea. The president has no idea. Nobody knows. So it's like a casino to a lot of people. They don't want to do it. Well, what if you put a stop loss or a safety net below the market So if you buy something at 20 and you're thinking it's going to go to 30, but it hits 18 before it goes to 20 and you only lose 10% on that, you take that money off the table. And people go, well, I don't want to take losses. Well, then you shouldn't be in the market. Because Warren Buffett or anybody else who's an expert on this thing over a 30, 50-year career, they're going to lose money on some of it. The key is to not lose much when you're wrong and to make a lot of money when you're right. Trade dimes for dollars.
Okay, makes sense. And then last thing, real quick, is you have the financial forum coming up. This will be on
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow from 3 to 5 p.m. at Clubhouse 7. Anything different or more that residents will learn by coming to this meeting? Well,
we're doing the mid-year market report, and we're going to expand on these topics quite a bit more. And then what that really does is it gives the village residents an opportunity to come in anonymously and ask any questions you want to ask. We don't take attendance. You don't have to RSVP. You just show up at Clubhouse 7 between 3 and 5 p.m. And it is group discussion. I'll lead it. I covered some of these topics, but there's input coming in all the time. And then we go around the room and everybody has a chance. They don't have to. If someone doesn't want to say anything, they can just pass.
Okay.
So it's a good way for people who are nervous about markets or unsure to really get their questions answered.
Okay, great, wonderful. Yeah, so definitely check that out tomorrow in Clubhouse 7 from 3 to 5 p.m. and get all your financial questions answered. But stay with us because coming up after the break, we will have more on This Day with the Baby Boomers Club.